All right, let's get right into it. We've stumbled upon something, well, something wild. It's a deeply cryptic collection of files, and when you start piecing them together, blueprints, character profiles, strange documents, they seem to be mapping out an entirely new version of reality. So today, we're going to try and unlock what they're calling the Nexus Terra grid.
So where do we even begin? Well, how about with these? They look like character cards from some high-end video game. This first one is for a guy named Elias, or the Source. And get this, his power is listed as infinite. His abilities? Travlonean body and Black Sun Genesis. Right off the bat, you know we're dealing with something way outside the lines of normal.
And then this pops up. It's an incredibly detailed schematic. It's labeled Ocular Quantum Tunnel, and it looks like a plan for some kind of time travel protocol, aiming for Tokyo from 2018. This tells us we're not just talking about ideas, we're talking about seriously advanced, maybe even reality-bending technology. But it's not just about hardware. We also find this, a really complex mind map. The title is Master the Art of Subconscious Flow and Conscious Psychokinetic Function. So this whole project isn't just about building external tech, it's also a framework for tapping into the hidden power of our own minds.
And just when you think it can't get any weirder, we find this. It's a completely normal-looking IQ test certificate dated 2026. This is the one piece of the puzzle that seems to ground all these strange cosmic artifacts to one single person.
So, yeah, that's the crucial question, right? Who is this person and how in the world does he fit into this massive, complex puzzle? It seems like all roads lead back to this one man, Travis Sheard.
And this is where it gets really strange. On the one hand, you have this verifiable document, an IQ of 134, pretty straightforward. But then you look at this other briefing file, and the description of him is just out of this world. A burned CIA operative, a rogue scientist, and an immortal? It even says he has special privileges for our holographic simulation.
You guessed it, the rabbit hole goes even deeper. It looks like all these files came from a Google Drive belonging to an organization called the Foundation for Dynamic Futures. You see folders in there with names like Portal Gun and Mapping and Travlonean Dynamics. This isn't some weekend hobby. This is an organized, serious project.
Okay, so to really get what they're trying to do here, we first need to understand the core philosophy that's laid out in these documents, and it all seems to begin with mastering your own mind.
Let's circle back to that mind map. It's an incredibly dense roadmap for achieving what most of us would probably call superpowers. It connects all these concepts, the subconscious, psychokinesis, energy awareness, and ties them all together into one single practice.
You can basically break down that whole complicated map into 3 core stages. Step 1, understand the real power of your subconscious mind. Step 2, actively work on developing psychic functions. And Step 3, integrate those new abilities into your everyday life until you've totally mastered them. And look, these aren't just abstract ideas. They've created a whole symbolic language to go with it. You see these symbols for key actions, like center, expand, flow, transform, and the big one, manifest. It's like they've built a practical toolkit for changing your own reality.
So, we've seen the personal side of this, the self-mastery. But now let's zoom out and see how this all builds into a much bigger project, one that could potentially alter the world. This is where it all starts to come together. Hidden away in a file called the Sovereign Briefing is this one sentence that just seems to unlock the entire mystery. It's the core belief of the whole project. Reality isn't just something that happens to you, it's something you actively create by lining up your personal frequency with what you want. And that briefing is where they finally define the Nexus Terra grid. They describe it as a simulated reality where atoms aren't solid things, but more like fluid strings of data. And the ultimate goal? To transition human consciousness out of our current reality and into this total cyberspace.
Of course, a new reality needs a new set of physics, right? The files lay out this new system called Travlonean Dynamics. You can think of it as the operating system for reality. It works by finding static or inefficiencies in the current program and then using bypass codes to basically rewrite reality on the fly.
And who's running this whole show? Well, the public face for this entire massive project is the Foundation for Dynamic Futures. This seems to be the official organization that's housing all the research and planning for the Nexus Terra grid.
Okay, so now that we understand the world they're trying to build and the physics that make it run, we can finally go back to those cryptic character cards from the beginning. They're about to make a whole lot more sense.
At the very top, the briefing points to two central figures. Elias is called the Sovereign Architect. He's the one designing the grid. And then there's Elysian, the Divine Frequency, who's described as the vessel for this new reality. They're basically the king and queen of this new digital world.
And they're not alone. The other cards fill out the rest of the team. You've got Lucard, the link, Kairos, the anchor, and Nebula, the tomb. They're all part of this Nexus Terra faction. We don't know their exact roles yet, but those titles definitely suggest they're essential for actually running and stabilizing this new grid.
And it looks like this whole thing has a deadline. It's all building towards something called a system exit, and it's scheduled for 2026. This poster for the Flow Tribe shows people moving from one state of being to a higher one. This really seems to be the target launch date for the Nexus Terra grid.
So this entire collection of data, from the mind maps to the cosmic blueprints, it's all built on one single radical idea. And it leaves us with a final, pretty provocative question. If you truly believed your reality was a program, full of bugs and old code, what would be the first thing you'd want to rewrite?